Okay, so How to Train Your Dragon, right? It is, made it to the big screen in a live action format. This iteration is written and directed by Dean DeBlois. The film is produced by Dean DeBlois, Mark Platt, and Adam Siegel. It's executive produced by Chris Saunders, one of the original creators with DeBlois of the animated version. All right, Roy Lee, Michael A. Connolly, and David Kane. John Powell took care of the music. Bill Pope is on cinematography. Wyatt Smith edits the piece. Right, casting was handled by Lucy Beavan. Dominic Watkins is production design. Art direction, we have David Allday, Thomas Brown, Stephanie Clerkin, David Doran, Teal Forlick, Susan Garantis, Andrew Monroe, Mike Stallion, and Tom Whitehead. Set decoration was Daniel Burt and Ryan Keenry. Lindsay Pugh is costume design. Okay, then we got the cast. Okay, so Hiccup is played by Mason Thames. His dad, Stoick, is played by Gerard Butler. That's Stoick the Vast. Then Stoick's right hand man, Gobber the Belch, is played by Nick Frost. We have Astrid Hofferson, played by Nico Parker. There is Fish Legs Ingram, played by Julian Dennison. That's Hiccup's best friend. Another of the group that becomes, there's Snotloot Jurgensen, played by Gabriel Howe. Rough Nut Thurston, played by Bronwyn James. Rough Nut's brother, Tough Nut, played by Harry Trevedwin. There is Snootlout's dad, Spitlout, played by Peter Seferonovich. Fegma, played by Ruth Cudd. Who else do we have? Horik, played by Murray MacArthur. Goffy, played by Naomi Rivner. Bernhardt, played by Andrea Ware. Retcher, played by Anna Longbrufi. Snorty, played by Marcus Unlud. Droll, played by Pete Selwood. Fungi, played by Daniel John Williams. Flatula, played by Kate Kennedy. Hurl, played by Nick Cornwell. And Loogie, played by Selena Jones. The gist of the story is this. Alright, so on the rugged Isle of Berk, where Vikings and dragons have been bitter enemies for generations, Hiccup stands apart. The inventive yet overlooked son of Chief Stoick the Vast, Hiccup defies centuries of tradition when he befriends Toothless, a feared night fury dragon. Their unlikely bond reveals the true nature of dragons, challenging the very foundation of Viking society. So yes, that is the film. Now, this is, and it's a little convoluted, right? But let's break it down. So this is an adaptation of the first animated feature, How to Train Your Dragon, that came out in 2010. Right, so DeBlois and Chris Sanders, as mentioned, they created that film. That animated film was based on the 2003 book of the same name from Cressida Cowell. So yeah, and there was 3 animated films. So, potentially, I guess if this is successful, they will look to make more. But yeah, I didn't see the animated film when it first came out, but I think it was playing one Christmas or something, and I had nothing to do, so I just checked it out, right? And it was fine. It wasn't my thing, but, you can see why people would like it, right? Now, when you've got the live feature, it's what we do, right? We try and cover as many different types of films so you get an idea of what's out and how it is. So this film, I would probably say, if you like the animated films, you might enjoy this, right? If you liked, I guess a lot of the live action adaptations of animated films, if you enjoy those, yeah, you might like this, right? There's things that have been like, oh gosh, I want to say, because Netflix did one and Hulu did one. I think one was called Damsel, and the other one was like something princess, right? About princesses who were trapped and had to escape dragons, right? If you like those films, then you might enjoy How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version. For me, it's, they've created this Viking community, this, landscape, this adaptation. And like aesthetically, it doesn't look bad when we first meet them all. Everyone's, in their Viking getup. But, right, you see, they're doing all this stuff, right? Going on missions and things and fighting, but their clothes never get dirty, like they never get messed up, and it doesn't really make any sense on that front. Some things are a little too shiny, right? A little too shiny. I don't know why, but you see fire, dragons breathing fire at people. No one's getting burnt. No one's getting burned, right? If you're that close to fire, you're at least getting singed. At a minimum, there should be some singeage. None. So there's a lot of things that don't necessarily add up here, which kind of odd. And I didn't buy any chemistry. Right? Any chemistry between Hiccup and his dad. Right? There was nothing there. Didn't buy it. And then you've got Hiccup and Astrid. Didn't really seem anything there. Right? It just didn't really gel together. It's just like they wanted to create this thing and make it look like the animated, but you then sacrifice everything else. You know what I mean? Like the CGI dragons, they didn't seem great, right? It looked like, now if it was just the dragons, you'd be like, okay, cool. That's fine, right? But then having the dragons with the humans, it didn't mesh. It looked like this huge divide, like CGI dragon, human, right? There's no integration. But when you watch things like Lord of the Rings, and I use Lord of the Rings a lot because it was just so well done, right? Smelog and the Ents and the trolls and the ballroom, like all of these things felt like they were there. You know what I mean? They felt like they were in the same world and in the same place, interacting with Frodo and Bilbo and Gandalf and the rest. And that's what you want. That's what you need. But when you're watching something and it looks like two separate things, then you're pulled out of the story, right? It doesn't connect you in any way. And that was the big thing that I was getting from How to Train Your Dragon. It was just like, they're not in the same spot, man. They're not in the same verse. This is weird. Like the big dragon was probably the best rendition, but it's still, again, it looked very odd, right? Because you're just like, okay, if that's a big dragon, then why would these other dragons look so different from this big dragon? And when I say different, I don't mean the colors and the sizes, but it's just the look and the feel of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, you just have this weird, it was just a very weird film for me. It felt very long. Yeah, it felt very long, and there was just these repetitive things like, oh, you're pointing at all of me. Oh, it's just like, oh, how many times are we doing this thing? Right? How many times are we doing this thing? You know what I mean? So it didn't wow me. It didn't just resonate. But I didn't, as I said, I only watched the first animated film, right? So this wasn't made for me. So I don't, it didn't resonate with me. But I am, as I said, I'm sure if you're a fan of the other stuff, right? If you liked, those other princess films and stuff, or again, this isn't about a princess, but, those films, right? Damsel and Princess or whatever it was called, they have the same kind of feeling, right? The same kind of vibe as How to Train Your Dragon. So yeah, if those worked for you, if you enjoyed those things, yo, this is all you, kid. This is all you, and you'll enjoy it. I did find the music kind of grating. And not to say the music itself was bad, but it's just that reliance on it, right? Just having it under certain scenes where you just think, we don't need music here, right? Let the emotions talk for themselves. You know what I mean? Let the scene talk for itself. Why do we underbed it with music? So it's just those kind of things. Like, production wise, it's impressive, right? To be able to do all of this stuff, right? Hats off to everyone involved. You know what I mean? It's just the elements of the story that just didn't really hit me. But How to Train Your I don't know. How to Train Your Jackson? How to Train Your Dragon is in cinema right now. So if you want to check it out, people, go have fun.